It's great to speak to you today. Big fan of your work, and
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
well, it must have been awesome. I know it's a small role in this film, but must have been an awesome one to be part of. And well, what was the experience like to begin with, and how did you come to be involved with the project?
Oh, I love all the people so much. And, I'm friends with the producer, Debbie Liebling, and I'm friends with Eva, and I'm friends with Matt Walsh and Brad Morris, one of the writers, one of the coolest dudes ever. So you just, it's one of those things where you get an offer to be on a small movie like this and you love all the people. And so it's an easy thing for me to do. The trickiest part was getting there during COVID, connecting flight from Salt Lake City, Utah to Tulsa, Oklahoma isn't the coolest flight to be on. But other than that, fun time working with great people and, small part, but a great time.
Yeah, well, it's nothing to take away from the fantastic work you did in the film, and obviously how important your character is as well, because
Right. Catalyst, right? For
yeah, he ends up being such a huge part of this story, and it must be pretty gratifying for you as an actor when you then watch a film like this to see that you had this ripple effect throughout the entire story.
well, they mentioned that going in, and again, just so even though it was when you're working with somebody like Matt Walsh, who's an amazing improviser, and no one's precious with any of the words, even though you want to get the scene down. It's really fun to act with such talented, friendly people. So it's I still pinch myself that this is an actual job that I get to do. So small part, big part, lots of money, no money. It's sort of all the same if everyone's nice and fun. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like there could have been a version of this movie where Dan and Juan could have been best friends and we could have spent the first 20-30 minutes exploring that friendship. But do you think it was almost more, obviously, what comes next was made more impactful by the fact we say goodbye to you as quickly as we say hello in some ways?
Well, I have that relationship with so many people that come over here. I live in Southern California, and there's so many people that are service people at this my house at the Madrigal compound, where the termite inspector and I are friendly, and so without spoiling too much for this movie, it's that guy you see once a month in my case with the termite guy or the the gardeners I'm fist bumping and just you have such a great relationship with these folks and they do have an impact on your life. um, the gardener who I speak horrible Spanish, but the gardener here, I have a Juan Reyes situation here because guy Marvin, he's from Guatemala, comes and in very, very broken English, had somebody come in and translate, tells me that his sons are crossing the border and they're stuck in Frontera, Mexico. And would I help go get them if I needed to and claim them? And, I'm in Southern California and we're talking about going to like Texas, if that's where the border crossing is for them. And I said, yes, let me know what I need to do. So there's a movie. There's another movie but that's again the same type of thing. Is like you're impacted by these people and that you develop relationships with, and so it was. Yeah, the long answer is short answer is it's cool. It's a fun little part.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does a great job, I think, as well, putting the audience obviously in Dan's shoes. And that scene with the two of you goes without saying. Obviously, you and Matt are two very funny guys, but was there a lot of content there? You bouncing back and forth off each other, or was it a case of sticking quite close to what was in the script, given it
No,
is?
I think we messed around with it. That's again the beauty of having the writers on set. And Matt wrote this with Brad Morris, and Brad is around, and it was again just a fun time, sort of to be had on set. No one. I've been on the shows where they're married to every and the and the smallest little thing, he's like, yeah, you missed the could you go back in that 65 word monologue and hit that and you're like, really? Because I felt like that was really good. And so I've been on those shows and it's not fun, and this was great to you're loosely doing the lines with the buddy. It's fun.
Yeah, and of course the director Deborah Neal Fisher, she's worked on a lot of great movies and a lot of great
As
comedies.
an editor, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's really cool. She's editing. That was one of the first things when I got to the Daily Show. I think John Oliver told me to live in the edit. So when you're shooting something, just like this interview, you're like, I'm going to cut the part with the Mexican gardener. We don't need that.
I'm stealing that for a movie pitch. I'm going to pitch
Yeah,
that as a film.
so yeah, you want to, as an editor, a lot of editors make great directors, just like Deborah has.
Yeah, well, I thought she was fantastic. With this being her first feature directing gig as well, I thought she did a fantastic job. But what was your take, having come from that comedy world as well, on the sort of comedic sensibilities that she had as a filmmaker?
Yeah, you could tell just right away. She was awesome, and again, lovely. That's all you want. I want lovely more than good, and she had thoughts, and you're giving me something to play with and work on. So she was great.
Awesome. And I know this is a film definitely left me with a lot to think about in terms of technology and being present in the moment, which is something we obviously see the two lead characters go through. But for you, what was your takeaway from seeing a story like this? And are you a big social media guy, or did you not relate to it so much?
I really hate it. I hate it so much. I've got to really make an effort to post anything because I just don't care. I need to promote this project, Samantha. I know I need to promote, and I want to promote the stuff that I'm in, but I don't care to tell anyone what I had for breakfast or show a picture of my food or let anyone in on anything. And I know that's what it takes to make people, popular, but I don't know if I want it that bad. I'd like to be just known for my work, and
Yeah.
that's it, and not you know, whatever, an outfit or whatever I'm choosing to do with my personal life. So, but so I hate it, and I hate having it, and I know I need to do it more, and I know, but I just want to get off my phone completely. So I want to unplug. So all those people, you just like, my wife is on her phone nonstop. She's like, I'm looking at the news. I'm looking at the news. We're addicted to the news. Is like an addiction. So you have like, we're getting nonstop updates, and it really is a problem. I mean, my kids, have you ever watched a movie with somebody that's under 20?
Yeah, I have actually. My sister-in-law who's 15, and yeah, her phone was out a lot.
And they're just, I'm like, what screen are you? I go, did you just see that? Or you're watching live sports with anybody? It's like, let me rewind it. They're going to play it again, but you're just missing, Steph Curry just shot the most amazing 3-pointer. You're looking at your phone. You can always look at Twitter, but these shots are unbelievable. And so I hate it, and I want to unplug, just like that.
Yeah, well, great message to take from this film. And just on another note for a second, I know that like myself, you're a big comic book fan.
Yes.
So it was great to see you in Morbius this year and see you joining that Marvel universe.
First of all, Morbius, not as bad as everybody's making it out to be. And sure, it had problems, and they diced it up quite a bit. I had some hilarious lines that were cut out of that movie. I was very funny. And in London, when you shoot, they do a halfway party. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but exactly at midway through the film, there's a big blowout. And editors came up to me, the gaggle of editors came up, and they're like, oh my God, we see everything you're doing, all the subtle stuff, all of the jokes, because I got to improvise through that freely. If they left in just 50% more of my stuff than people, it would have, they really, I got butchered in that thing. And I think that's what they did, is they just really, because of COVID, had so much time to mess with it. They mess with it.
Yeah, well, on that note, that was actually bring me perfectly to my next question, because I know I've seen you in other interviews. I think you talked about working with Michael Keaton. I know watching the trailers, it seemed that maybe you and Tyrese Gibson once had like a big action scene, maybe out in the forest somewhere. And of course, we didn't see a lot of that in the film. So, was there like a lot of reshoots and a lot of your scenes like that, big moments that were cut? And
I mean,
anything?
yeah, they had quite a few. Like, so yeah, you saw there was a complete alternate ending to this entire thing. And they made a good point that I think one of that scene that you saw pictures from um, was shot during the day, and I get the rationale is like, we have a vampire movie, you can't have the big final fight scene happen during the day. So at some point, me and Tyrese fought Matt Smith, and sorry, I have dogs. And we, I shot for 6 days and none of that was shown.
Well, it must be quite, because I know this is probably one of your biggest blockbuster roles yet. So it must have been quite an experience to go into that and then see it on the other side. And it wasn't necessarily the film, but
whatever. It's part of it. Like, I don't know. I really don't care. I got to spend 2.5 months in London, living in Chelsea, and riding a bike around. I went to Amsterdam on the weekends. I went to a tulip festival. Like, I had the time of my life. I was in scenes, even though you didn't see him, scenes with Michael Keaton and Jared Leto, and it was cool. I did weapons training, went to the BFI almost every single day and hung out and had coffee and watched movies. So it was the time of my life. I did a ton of stand up at Top Secret, Old Robe. Like went to the Bill Murray Theater and was hanging out there a little bit. And so again, one of the best times I've ever had in my entire career. So the end product of what you're seeing, I can't control that. Yeah. I own a company, Primos, I can control my comic book. My company and the movies we make, I can control those to a certain extent. But you have so many people involved in these projects. Even like, let's bring it back to Unplugging. It's like what you're going to be dealt a lot of, and it really is like life. When nothing goes the way you planned it, and you just have to sort of be cool with whatever the outcome is. And when you have such a variety of people and opinions involved and decision makers, it's going to go on this path and twist and turns, and you just have to sort of let go and be cool with where it ends up. And if it's great, it's great. If it's not, it's not. And whatever, man.
Yeah, well, sure. Well, I like you said, I think the movie, it did get a really tough time from critics, and personally, I thought you were great, and I thought all the cast was great, actually, regardless of obviously how much.
Thanks, man.
And
yeah,
I hope we get to see obviously you and Tyrese stand the line, because it sounds like both your characters, they know about Venom, and there's all these different films. So fingers crossed, maybe you can come back and take another shot.
Oh yeah, when I went out to London, they're like, "Congratulations, you're the glue that holds everything together." And like, we'll see. I was hoping I was going to be Agent Coulson, and Greg Clark from Shield, and appear in every single installment of this Sony Marvel universe. But I don't know if that's going to happen. And if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's like,
yeah,
on to the next thing, on to Unplugging.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. And just before we do get back to this film, I've got to ask actually about your comic book series. You mentioned it there, Primos. Has there been any talk maybe of taking that down the film TV route? And if you do, how would you want to be involved in that? Would it be as a writer, producer? Do you want to get quite hands-on, or are you happy to almost pass it on to someone?
I'm always I always look for people that know way more than I do to help me out with everything. So I'm happy to pass that off to experts. And while I write a tremendous amount of TV, I have not written an action movie. So I would rather pass that off to the most qualified producers and writers possible. So I would just be happy if it got made, because then we'd see more Latino characters on TV and on big screens. And right now we're seriously lacking, in presence there. So Yeah, I'd love for that to become a movie. There's quite a few people talking about doing that right now, and then I'm in the process of laying out the bigger picture and all of the other, bad guys. And it's I have 4 of these done and plans on like 3 different series that fit into the entire world. So really going to build out an entire universe with a big threat coming.
Oh, that is awesome. It must be so exciting for you to be able to build your own, regardless of film and TV adaptations, to build your own comic book universe. And as you said, to put the spotlight on Latino characters who are also quite neglected on the page, I think, as well as on the screen.
I'd say this to any of your listeners, and in the back of this comic book, if you want it, like read the message that I wrote in the issue 1. We all have this little voice in our heads nagging at us to do something, and it looks like you've done it. But if you have something that you've always wanted to do and you're putting off for whatever reason, just listen to that little voice and get it done. Because I wanted to do stand-up comedy, and now all of these other worlds opened up. I'm in movies and I'm in London, again, riding a bike through a tulip festival, and it's and writing comic books, and listen to that little voice, because everything sort of opens up at that point.
Absolutely. Well, an amazing message. And just one final question back to this film. I know a lot of people, it always seems to be in the headlines, people talking about method acting. Obviously, you get to play Juan, a UPS driver. Were you going down the method route, delivering packages there, or was the uniform enough for you?
It was really funny because there was a UPS guy on set. So there was a delivery guy that they had who was a representative of UPS. And he's like, you wouldn't hold the boxes like that. And, okay, so if you want to hold the boxes like this, we're trained to hold the boxes at one point. And then I think at one point we're like, okay, dude, like we get it. Like no one is there's not going to be any delivery heads out there that are just going to criticize my, there's not going to be a subreddit dedicated to my box technique. So simmer down. No, I didn't do method UPS work. Well, I trained in the UPS facility. I actually prefer FedEx. So I feel like they just, it's not my style.
Yeah, well, watch out now for those hashtags on Twitter, people criticizing your box style. But
watch out if you're a delivery person, watch Unplugging so you can weigh in on the controversy. Did he hold the box right? Which side are you on?
Oh, well, Al, so awesome to speak to you. Thank you for taking the time to talk about this film. Very generous of you to talk about Morbius as well. Really appreciate your insights into that, and look forward to people being able to watch this and to go and check out your comic book Primo as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate all the plugs. I'll take them all. Yeah.
Hope to speak to you again. Thank you so much, Al.
Yeah.